Melbourne's day of bloody violence. Police and protesters do battle in the heart of the city. Libya rejoices at Colonel Gaddafi's brutal demise. A nightmare end to an online date. And a hero pilot speaks of his ordeal for the first time.
This is 9 News with Peter Hitchener.
Good evening. There's been blood on the streets and mass arrests after the battle to reclaim the city square turned violent. And tonight it's still not over, with protesters on the move. Let's go straight to Rob Scott, who's in Carlton. Rob, is there any end in sight?
No, it doesn't appear so, Pete. This situation has been evolving now for the past 11 hours, and until about 5 minutes ago, protesters were outside Trades Hall. They're now marching down Lygon Street. During the course of this afternoon, we've seen running battles between riot police and those protesters as police struggle to regain control of the streets. This afternoon, and police moved in. A massive show of force. Dozens of men and women forcibly removed from City Square. This was supposed to... They've been here since last Saturday, campaigning against corporate greed.
It hasn't been worth it? Absolutely. Yeah. You make it sound like we're already shut down.
But the writing was on the wall at 7 this morning when police first arrived, quickly followed by contractors who surrounded the makeshift camp with a wire fence.
Always was, always will be Aboriginal land!
The protesters were given until 9 a.m. to pack up and get out.
If you continue to refuse to leave, you will be liable to arrest. Please leave.
You got violent examples here? Absolutely not. We're staying right here. We need love in situations like this.
The deadline came and went. First to go were the tents. The makeshift campsite cleared out. After days of peaceful protest, things have finally turned ugly. Protester after protester dragged out from the main compound where the tents used to be to outside to divvy band.
I didn't grab his phone, I did it!
The square finally cleared, but the battle far from over. Get off the cliff! Stop resisting! Rob Scott.
From City Square to Swanston Street. Jacqueline Felgate watched it unfold. Jackie, they were ugly scenes.
Peter, beautiful Melbourne has certainly taken a battering. It all happened here at the Paris end of Collins and Swanston Street. There are still plenty of police around and the clean-up has just begun. But Melbourne's status as the world's most livable city has certainly been marred by the violent events of just a few hours ago. The protests spilled out onto the street and the police took no chances. Swanston Street under siege as the situation spiralled out of control.
This is what democracy looks like! Show me what democracy looks like!
And it was a shameful sight.
What about the people that you might be inconveniencing on the tram?
I don't give a damn. This is bigger than a couple of days profit.
Come join us and be part of the protest. Because we're protesting for them. That's what we're protesting for.
Protesters dragged away screaming by police who had clearly had enough. They called themselves Occupy Melbourne, and that's exactly what they did. The city was in lockdown as the mounted branch stormed the crowd. A boy was kicked after getting too close to a horse. This protest has now all but shut down the city. Swanston Street is completely closed, transit stopped, and police have had to bring in extra reinforcements to try and quell the... Looked on as the group, which by now had swelled to around 1,000 people, staged a sit-in in the middle of Collins Street. There were scores of arrests. Pepper spray was used on those who refused to comply.
We got it pretty good here. I don't know what they're complaining about.